Hi everybody, Tony here. Today I'm going to do a little bit of a comparison between kayaks. So I just recently got into the hobby myself, and before I really steeped myself too much into it, I wanted to kind of watch the amount of money I spent, and I didn't want to spend too much up front and kind of get stuck with another item that's going to sit in my basement or my garage unused, or more fodder for Craigslist. But what I originally got was a less expensive kayak, and just recently acquired one that's kind of a higher level. So I want to kind of take a peek at the two, maybe kind of run some comparisons here, share a little bit about my gear, and then maybe kind of get some of your feedback at the end. Alright, here's the kayak I've been using for the past couple months now. It's the Journey SS Sundolphin, as you can kind of see there. This is one that I picked up at Walmart, just kind of actually on a whim a little while back, and I think I got it for like $278 perhaps. But I can just tell you up front is I like some of the amenities of it. I like how it performs. And I'm just going to kind of briefly go through that here before I compare with the new acquisition over here. Okay, to start with, one thing I do like is this detachable storage compartment. And if you can kind of see here, is I've got space in there. I've got extra lanyards where I kind of keep the fishing pole holder. But I've kept a variety of different things in here. But the nice thing with this is you can kind of take these lines off. This guy will come out, and you can kind of tow it behind the kayak as you go, so that way you can still use this entire space here for storage as well. So I don't know what I would do about the tow behind, or if it could get caught in brush or what have you. But I do like that I can detach it, and oftentimes I do if I'm carrying more gear. Each end does have the ability to pull this. This whole thing here kind of weighs about 44 pounds. It's easy to lift in and out of my truck by myself. I can portage it, carry it. The one thing that I did find kind of fault with this is there's no good way to kind of grip a hold of it. It's kind of slick. There is a little lip here that you can get a hold of it, but you do have to kind of get creative if you do want to carry this. It does have these little kind of cargo things, maybe to put a bottle of something, water, more gear. I would use my sit pad, which brings me to the next point. This back part is adjustable, but the thing is too is that unless you want to kind of sit on the scuppers here the whole time, I got an REI sit pad for here that I use for camping, and ended up using it here exclusively because my rear end would get sore after within a couple hours, and then it stopped being fun, and I'd have to kind of pull over and stretch a little bit. Plus, if I would put the scupper plugs in here too, it'd be going kind of right up Main Street, so to speak. So anyway, I would recommend getting a sit pad if this is what you want to get. This little compartment here, it looks like it would be kind of a place to keep things dry. Actually, you'd be better off keeping minnows or live bait in here. This thing fills with water. It looks like it's got kind of a little bit of a seal on it, but it says it's not meant to keep things totally dry. Believe them. This thing is just kind of again for random storage. Got a bottle holder. This right here is where you can kind of put your pole holder. It also comes with two and through the back. It's got these pads here for your knees, which my knees really didn't kind of go that far, so don't know how helpful they were. This little place, if you do want to put an Nalgene bottle, sometimes I put my anchor there. I do kind of give them kudos for the adjustable foot pegs here. They're real easy, just kind of squeeze and move, and they'll kind of lock in when you find a place you like. And a little bit more car going through the front, and then it's also kind of got you can kind of see the little drain plugs here. But overall, the boat is 10 foot long. It's also got here on the sides, if you wish, you can kind of secure paddles. But anyway, not a bad deal at all for the $278. The one thing I did find is in choppier water, it did kind of, some of the water did kind of splash over. It is a challenge for those who may not have good core muscles, and I kind of had to build mine to use this one because it would kind of rock a little bit. But once I get it going, though, the nice thing about this being smaller and more narrow, this thing would scoot through water. So really, if you want to just get into kayaking, again, my Walmart kayak was definitely a bargain at $278, and it was able to allow me to kind of get into the sport and decide on an upgrade. All right, the newest acquisition. This boat belonged to my buddy Tim, and he's kind of my kayaking, sports, camping, outdoor partner. And he just got himself a new toy. He got what is it? The Big Rig, Jackson Big Rig. Yeah, so hopefully I can get a review on that. So he let me kind of use this guy here, which he said he found no fault with it. He just kind of fell in love with a different upgrade that he wanted to pick up. So this is the Advanced Angler 120. Beautiful boat, 13 feet long, and this thing weighs around 100 pounds. So if you're looking to haul this yourself, it's not that 100 pounds is impossible. It's bulky and cumbersome to try to do on your own. So I would recommend, as did Tim, is to get yourself kind of a cart, the straps. I'm still trying to figure out how to best fit this on the back end of that, but to get it out of my garage into my truck, I can do that. But if I have any distance at all to go to the water, you're going to want one of these. They come in a variety of forms. You can get them to where they kind of insert through the scuppers. This just kind of fits on the back end, but if you can kind of see the design of the back of this, and then this not kind of conforming to it, it kind of wobbles back and forth. So I still am trying to figure out a way to cinch this down to where I feel a little bit better and more secure. If you can kind of see here, is it does have in through the back a place to grab it front and back, so it can be carried best if you do have two people. You got rails on each side, so that way you can add anything from a GoPro. Not that you'd want to put your fish finder back there, but you can put them on these rails up and through the side. It does have a wonderful amount of storage space back here, even underneath the seat. The seat is, to me, is what sold me on this. Nice and comfy. It also has adjustments to where you can kind of go high, medium, and low. So that is, a definite bonus for me, because again, too, is I don't have the best back. So, this seat did definitely help sell me on the idea of this. It does have the adjustable foot pegs where, again, all you have to do is reach up, twist it, and slide it and twist, lock it back, so you don't have to kind of go all the way up to the front, whereas you do on the front of this, you've got to be up and forward, and anytime you get your center of gravity or your balance off on this guy, you may take a drink. So now the nice thing about this, if you can see here, this foot platform and this larger lanyard is to help you stand. This is meant to be so you can stand while fishing or what have you. So that is a bonus that I can't wait to try. So this also does have the attachment, so that way you can put the paddle on the side. It also has a storage box up here. In opening it, it does come out, and you can kind of remove it with these cords here. But if you can kind of see around the end, it doesn't have a rubber seal on it, so I would not trust this to be kind of a dry gear, compartment. But then again, gear nonetheless. And a little place for a cup, and also kind of a lash down place for cargo up and through the front. Again, about 13 feet long, 100 pounds. I think if you can kind of see up front here, as far as the width on this, it definitely has a little bit more width as well as the length. So stability is going to be with this guy here. I know Tim said that sometimes getting it going requires a little extra effort, but comparison between the two, I think both are great. I'm going to take this one out, try tomorrow, so I'm going to give you a review on the water, but just wanted to kind of show up front, some of the amenities. And you can kind of see here, there's a couple places for a fishing pole, and up and through the front, they can store along the side here with the front end of your pole at either one of those. So anyway, that's the deal on the Advanced Anglers 120, and can't wait to try it out. Now, just one thing anytime I go kayaking is I have kind of a basic gear that I take. I always have my 240 paddle here, just kind of keep it locked in standard position right in the middle. I have a vest here. This one is nice for what I found whenever I go wave running, but because of the way that the shoulders are, sometimes it'll kind of hunch up on me here. So this is going to be replaced soon. I'm going to get one that is more suitable for kayaking, so when I sit down it doesn't bunch up. However, with a new seat, that may not be an issue anymore. I always keep a howler whistle on here. This thing, I forget how many decibels, but if distressed, you'll hear it. So I also typically, when I go with a buddy, we carry two-way radios that are good for up to, I believe, 10 miles perhaps, but anyway, we don't get that far apart. Always have a series of dry bags. This one is if I carry my hammock, food, other things. A lot of times I'll just carry food in a cooler, but this is my bigger one because it can be carried like a backpack. I have a smaller one that I keep electronics in, and then an even smaller one yet for just simple keys and whatnot. There's my lanyard for my paddle. I like how it's got the carabiner on it. I keep some scupper plugs. These were what I mainly used in the Sundolphin kayak, but I can tell you these kind of stomper type really aren't worth a crap. Little extra paracord that goes with my anchor here. I really haven't had to use it much because I will pull over to the side or keep kayaking, so that one I just have. But now that I've got a little bit more ability to carry weight with the new kayak, that's probably going to go on board. This is the REI autofill sit pad that you will need something like it if you do get the Sundolphin, unless you've got bungs of steel. These are what I call my wuss gloves because I would always get kind of blisters in between my hands from the rowing, even though yes, you can callus it up, but sometimes too is just I'd rather not deal with it if I can get those things in there, and they do help out. I always wear the shoes because I do like to get off at different islands and pull up to different places, so if I get off at the bank there, I don't have to worry about taking something in the foot or ruining a good pair of shoes that are not meant for water. I just picked these up. This is a Pelican box that I'm going to use to carry like my cell phone and what have you. It's got a little carabiner on it, and then I like to have these little things just to be able to cinch up equipment close by me, so that way they don't get away or kind of scurry about the boat if I do hit some chop. But just pick those up too, so it's always kind of good to have something to cinch things down. But that is basically the nutshell of my basic gear, unless I decide I'm going to get off and cook or hammock or camp. But that is it. So I guess the whole premise of this is, do I need to spend a lot or do I need to spend a little? I guess like anything is, you can get by on spending little to no money, especially when it comes to outdoor sports. You do get what you pay for in a lot of instances, but sometimes it's what are your expectations? How often are you going to use it? So I had a great time with this Sundolphin, and because my buddy who usually goes out on these adventures with me acquired a new kayak, he's letting me use this guy here, and I can't wait to try it out. The difference again between $278 and something around $800 to $900 is going to be a significant jump in function as well as fashion, so to speak. I'm interested to see what he finds in his upgrade to the big rig, which we'll kind of compare that at a different point. But do you need to spend a lot of money? No, I had a great time on this. I can't wait to try that, and I've seen this in action right next to me many, many times. And just the ability to not feel like I'm always kind of trying to have to stay, stable and falling into the water, just to be able to relax at times, especially if I go fishing. I can't wait to try this guy out here. So I invite you to kind of, explore on your own. If you do get a chance, like I have, is to be able to borrow a friend's or to try different equipment out, please do so. That'll save you a lot of money, as I've got a lot of equipment and a variety of things laying around my house from tried it, didn't like it, and it sits around. So, but I can tell you either one of these is a win. I may keep this one for myself, that one for my son, but either way, I'll be reviewing this one soon and taking it out on the water tomorrow, so look for that video soon. And as always, if you like this, please like, share, and or subscribe.